My name is Fatimah Dia binti Muhammad Nafis. My matric number is 02DAT21F1028. Here, I want to tell you about the public debts. Public debts means the debt which a government owes to its nationals of other countries. There are two sources of public debt, which is internal and external. Here, I want to explain about the internal. First, borrowing from citizens. For example, sale of securities, bonds, and savings certificate. Two, borrowing from financial institutions. For example, insurance companies by investing their resources in the purchase of government securities. Third is loans from central bank. For example, is central bank purchase government securities, bonds of government, and debentures of government. And lastly is loans from commercial bank. For example, commercial banks invest a part of their deposits in government bonds and securities to fulfill liquidity requirements. And now we are discussing about the external. First is international money market. For example, from Paris, London, and New York. Second, have big deposits to lend any government request loans. Second, currency loans from foreign government. For example, USA, UK, Germany, and Japan supply of needed goods. The loan documented in a contract. Lastly is loans from international financial institutions. For example, the first is International Monetary Fund or IMF gives loans to its members on a short-term basis. And second example is World Bank gives long-term loans for economic development on a reasonable rates of interest.
Hi, my name is Afifah binti Muhammad Subari. My matrix number is 02DAT21F1001. I would like to explain about the objectives of financial policy. There are several objectives of monetary policy, which is to maintain domestic price stability. Second, to achieve full employment of resources. Third, to maintain a consistently low structure of interest rates. Next, to achieve a higher rate of economic development. And the last one is to achieve a balance of payments. Maksudnya ialah objektif dasar kewangan. Antaranya ialah untuk mengekalkan kestabilan harga domestik. Yang kedua, untuk mencapai guna tenaga penuh sumber. Yang ketiga, untuk mengekalkan struktur yang rendah secara berterusan daripada kadar faedah. Seterusnya, untuk mencapai lebih tinggi kadar perkembangan ekonomi. Dan akhir sekali, untuk mencapai keseimbangan imbangan pembayaran. Next, monetary policy. Monetary policy has two policies. The two types of monetary policy are expansionary monetary policy. The expansionary monetary policy is aimed at increasing the money supply in the economy. This policy is employed either to control unemployment or during recessions. The instruments used in the expansionary monetary policy are buying government securities and bonds, decreasing reserve ratio and decreasing discount rates. Maksudnya ialah dasar monetary pengembangan. Dasar monetary mengembang bertujuan untuk meningkatkan penawaran wang dalam ekonomi. Dasar ini juga digunakan sama ada untuk mengawal pengangguran atau semasa kemelesetan ekonomi. Instrumen yang digunakan dalam dasar monetary pengembangan ialah membeli sekuriti dan bond kerajaan, penurunan nisbah reserve dan penurunan kadar diskaun. Second, contractionary monetary policy. The contractionary monetary policy is adopted to decrease the money supply in the economy. This policy is employed to control inflation. The instruments used in the contractionary monetary policy are selling government bonds, increasing reserve ratio and increasing discount rates. Bermaksud, dasar monetary penguncupan. Dasar moneteri pengucupan diguna pakai untuk mengurangkan penawaran wang dalam ekonomi. Dasar ini juga digunakan untuk mengawal inflasi. Instrumen yang digunakan dalam dasar moneteri pengucupan adalah menjual bon kerajaan, meningkatkan nisbah rizab dan meningkatkan kadar diskaun.
Hi everyone, Assalamualaikum. My name is Putri Nur Akila binti Muhammad Sani Roslan. My matrix numbers is 02, D8021 M1024. So today I want to talk about instrument of monetary policy, which is qualitative instrument and quantitative instrument. Various instrument or tool of monetary policy which the central bank employs to achieve the goal of the economy policy. In general, the instrument of monetary policy can be categorized into quantitative instrument or qualitative instrument. Maksudnya, terdapat pelbagai instrumen atau alat dasar monetary yang digunakan oleh Bank Pusat untuk mencapai matlamat dasar ekonomi. Secara amnya, instrumen dasar monetary boleh dikategorikan kepada dua, iaitu instrumen kuantitatif atau instrumen kualitatif. Quantitative instruments have 4 points. Firstly, open market operations. The central bank can influence the cash reserve of commercial bank through its open market operation. This open market operation instrument is the most effective instrument which is available to central bank to carry out its monetary policy. Open market operation includes the buying and selling of government security by the central bank to influence the cash reserve in commercial bank. The central bank can change the direction of its open market operation according to the circumstance from a policy of increasing the cash reserve of commercial bank to decreasing their reserve and vice versa. During inflation, the central bank will reduce the cash reserve of commercial bank by selling securities, and as a result, the cash reserve of commercial bank will be reduced. However, during employment, the central bank will be purchase securities and increase the cash reserve of commercial banks, and thus increase the money supply in the economy. Maksudnya, Bank Pusat boleh mempengaruhi rizab tunai bank perdagangan melalui operasi pasaran terbuka. Instrumen operasi pasaran terbuka ini adalah instrumen yang paling berkesan yang tersedia untuk Bank Pusat untuk melaksanakan dasar moneterinya. Operasi pasaran terbuka termasuk pembelian dan penjualan sekuriti kerajaan oleh Bank Pusat untuk mempengaruhi rizab tunai di bank perdagangan. Bank Pusat boleh mengubah hala tuju operasi pasaran terbukanya mengikut keadaan, iaitu daripada dasar meningkatkan rizab tunai bank perdagangan kepada mengurangkan rizab dan sebaliknya. Semasa inflasi, Bank Pusat akan mengurangkan rizab tunai bank perdagangan dengan menjual sekuriti. Akibatnya, rizab tunai bank perdagangan akan berkurang. Walau bagaimanapun, semasa pengangguran, Bank Pusat akan membeli sekuriti dan meningkatkan rizab tunai bank perdagangan. Dan dengan itu meningkatkan bekalan wang dalam ekonomi. Point 2 is the legal cash reserve requirement. The instrument of variable minimum legal cash reserve ratio requirement affect the total amount of excess cash reserve in commercial banks, which reflects their ability to lend. The legal cash reserve requirement is the minimum amount of cash that the central bank requires all commercial bank to keep in the central bank. Central bank has the right to vary the cash and liquidity requirement ratios of commercial banks depending on circumstance. Decreasing the minimum legal cash reserve ratio result in excess cash reserve and becomes available for credit creation by the banks. During inflations, the central bank will raise the minimum legal cash reserve ratio in order to restrain credit creations by commercial bank and thus reduce the money supply. Maksudnya, Bank Pusat mempunyai hak untuk mengubah nisbah keperluan tunai dan kecairan bank perdagangan bergantung pada keadaan. Mengurangkan nisbah rizab tunai minimum menyebabkan rizab tunai berlebihan dan ini menjadi tersedia untuk penciptaan kredit oleh bank. Semasa inflasi, Bank Pusat akan menaikkan nisbah rizab tunai untuk menghalang penciptaan kredit oleh bank perdagangan, dengan itu mengurangkan bekalan wang. Third is ban or discount rate. This is the interest rate the central bank charges on loan of reserve to banks. Changes in the bank rate or discount rate affect the cost at which borrowing can be made available to banks from the central bank. If the central bank increases its bank rate, the interest rate on borrowing becomes more expensive, and this will lead to a decrease in the demand for loans. Maksud di sini menerangkan kadar diskaun atau kadar bank ialah kadar faedah yang dikenakan oleh bank pusat ke atas pinjaman rizab kepada bank. Perubahan dalam kadar bank atau kadar diskaun menjejaskan kos di mana pinjaman boleh disediakan kepada bank daripada bank pusat. Jika bank pusat menaikkan kadar banknya, kadar faedah pinjaman menjadi lebih mahal, dan ini akan menyebabkan penurunan permintaan untuk pinjaman. The last point is funding. Funding refers to the conversion of short-term loans. The objective of the conversion from short-term to long-term loans is to enable the commercial bank to create multiple credit. Funding ialah pembiayaan merujuk kepada penukaran pinjaman jangka pendek. Objektif penukaran daripada pinjaman jangka pendek kepada jangkaan panjang adalah untuk membolehkan bank perdagangan mencipta pelbagai kredit. Qualitative instrument has 3 points. Firstly, selective credit control. This instrument enables the central bank to restrict unhealthy expansions of credit for specific performance. During inflations, the banking system can control credit through hard purchase restrictions by imposing regulations. The central bank will persuade commercial banks to grant loans for productive purpose only and reduce non-performance loan. Maksud di sini menerangkan instrumen kawalan kredit terpilih membolehkan bank pusat menyekat pengembangan kredit yang tidak sihat untuk tujuan tertentu. Semasa inflasi, sistem perbankan boleh mengawal kredit melalui sekatan sewa beli dengan mengenakan peraturan. Bank pusat akan memujuk bank perdagangan untuk memberikan pinjaman untuk tujuan produktif sahaja dan mengurangkan pinjaman tidak berbayar. The second point is interest rates. The central bank will persuade commercial bank to decrease their interest rate for saving during recessions, which will discourage people for keeping their money in the bank and increase consumptions of goods and services. During inflations, the central bank will request for higher interest rates for saving, which will attract people to save and reduce the money held by them. Di sini menerangkan bahawa bank pusat akan memujuk bank perdagangan untuk menurunkan kadar faedah mereka untuk simpanan semasa kemelesetan, yang akan menghalang orang ramai daripada menyimpan wang mereka di bank dan meningkatkan penggunaan barang dan perkhidmatan. Semasa inflasi, bank pusat akan meminta kadar faedah yang lebih tinggi untuk simpanan, yang akan menarik orang ramai untuk menyimpan dan mengurangkan wang yang dipegang oleh mereka. The last point is special directive. The central bank will instruct commercial banks to reduce the volume of loans given to the public. The central bank will also influence commercial banks to restrict their lending policy, such as the need for collateral security, guarantees, and other measures which will discourage borrowings. Maksudnya ialah bank pusat akan mengarahkan bank perdagangan supaya mengurangkan jumlah pinjaman yang diberikan kepada orang ramai. Bank pusat juga akan mengarahkan bank perdagangan untuk menyekat dasar utama mereka seperti keperluan untuk jaminan cagaran, penjamin dan langkah lain yang akan menghalang peminjaman.